Today we have a very interesting topic, application of supply chain finance. At least for me, it is a completely new topic. And today we have Mr. Mayank with us as a resource person for this session. So Mayank sir is currently working with Capital One as a principal data analyst. Mayank has diverse professional experience in data analytics, IT consulting, and operations. Mr. Mank has completed his PGDM from IMT Ghaziabad and then Master in Business Analytics from Purdue University, USA. And currently he is located in Richmond, USA. Thank you so much, Mank sir, for being with us and being the IMT alumni. We are happy to host you. Thank you.
Right.
So over to you, sir.
So during the presentation, I'll be covering about my background and experience, starting with my background and experience, diving a little bit into data and strategy, some key concepts over there. Then I'll start on uh, dive into supply chain finance, get into three case studies that I did um, as a part of my work experience in a company. Um, and then later on, I'll dive into banking supply chain, which is related to where I'm currently working, and one case study related to the US coin circulation crisis that uh, that is still going on currently, but it started somewhere in during the pandemic. The reasons and then behind it, and how did we as a company try to overcome that crisis. And then in the later half, I'll do some hands-on demonstration uh, with at-risk software, some simulation and optimization, and the last part would be just one problem of how we use Gurobi optimization in Python. Um, I hope I would be able to utilize the entire 2 hours, but let's see what happens.
Yes.
All right. So a little bit about me. I started my journey as an electronics engineer, working in a manufacturing industry. So I was a part of Bharat Electronics Limited uh, 10 years ago. And I also had a background in Lean Six Sigma. Um, but then somehow after working over there, I realized that, okay, I should uh, get into something else. So I went to IMT Ghaziabad from there, had my knowledge in finance and operations, um, worked over after passing out from IMT. I worked with Infosys for some time as a in consulting. That is where I worked on data related projects that led me to the current journey, which I like pursued coming to the US, doing a degree in business analytics. And after graduating from there, I joined Capital One, um, which is where I'm looking more at end-to-end data solutions for the company. So starting from getting the data in-house, um, and to doing analytics on it. Um, yeah, that's the entire journey. On the professional side, on personal level, I love to travel, and that's why I have pictures of the world and the places where I've traveled in India. Mostly all the states which are in red I have covered, um, and I've traveled to 4 different countries. I've been to 4 different countries so far, um, and here's a picture of few of my friends when we were on a trip, uh, traveling from Seattle to San Francisco and back. Um, my family's on the uh, bottom left hand side, I do believe in well-being and meditation, keeping yourself uh, um, rejuvenated. And I love learning different languages. So I was living in South India for quite some time. I graduated from a Nepali university. So I picked up Kannada over there. And then I went to Spain, understood, like picked up a little bit of Spanish over there. And now I mean, it's funny but and ironical, but I'm picking up Telugu. Even though I'm in the US, I have a lot of Telugu friends, and I'm picking up that language now. So um, yeah, that is all about me. Any questions? All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is a trivia slide I just made for uh, making the session more interesting, and just a little bit knowing if anyone did some research before the session. So there are three statements over here, and I don't know if the poll works. If like, yeah, maybe you can just let us know in chat. Like which one do you think is a lie?
Second one.
Uh, anyone like? I guess.
Second one is a lie.
So how many vote for second one?
Me? Am I allowed to speak? No, no.
No, you are not allowed. Okay. Seems like everyone mentioned second. So okay, there's some A's. I have two A's and I think four B's. More B's. Okay, now we are getting into C as well. Uh, yeah, I won't. So the first one is a lie. I was like Mrinalini ma'am never took my operations class, but still I got in touch with her after my summer internship and through a friend, and then we got along together so well that it just started that journey of sharing our experiences and going forward from there. And um, we did collaborate on working on a research paper after that. So it has been a great journey, and I'm looking forward to more such experiences. Um, the third one is surprisingly, I did work on in a research lab at while working at at Purdue University. Um, they the research lab conducted analysis on rat stomachs, and my work over there was to help them simplify the data visualization part of the data that they were generating. So I worked on creating an R Shiny app for them specific to their needs, where they wanted to plot um, data points or visualize data points in the rat stomach and do some kind of um, statistical analysis over there. And my first job experience was in Spain. It was an internship back in my undergraduation, back in 2011, where I worked for 3 months for Procter and Gamble. And then I came back to India when I graduated from engineering. Then I started working for Bharat Electronics Limited. So the second one is also true. All right. Going to the next slide. So now getting into the data and strategy slides. So I believe this is a very um, simple algorithm. I guess everyone might know that first, like whenever we get into any kind of data project, first is always goal definition. First, we need to identify um, what you would need to uh, work on or analyze, and then you start working on how we can identify the key evaluation metric or key performance factors. It says key performance indicators. Once you identify those, usually it's the business that would tell you uh, what should be the KPIs for that project. And once you get that, then you need to get that relevant data. And that is where data engineers or data analysts would come in. So if the data is not present for any analysis and you need to get the data from the vendor or somewhere else, or you need to build a data pipeline, that is when data engineer will be working with you to set up those proper configurations in place to get that data in house. um, or if the data is already present, then the data analyst would be working with you to fetch the data for you from the database. um, Once we have the data, uh, we'll be working on identifying how to get the KPIs from that raw data that we have. So again, it's a combination of work between data analyst or a data scientist, depending upon what KPI you have chosen. Once we have uh, that data or information present from the algorithm, we work towards building effective data visualization. Uh, I say effective because sometimes we do end up making data visualizations which are quite complex for the business to understand. So it has to be uh, simple and easy to interpret. Um, yeah, so that's the whole life cycle of any data related project that we have. Going to the next slide, can give an example, like suppose if the goal definition is no COVID infections, then our KPI uh, can be number of vaccinations per 1,000 people. It can be a metric that you can track to identify if the COVID infections have reduced. Um, where you would go for the data would be, I believe, the CDC website would give a lot of information right now uh, as to how many vaccinations have been done. Um, and then I think it will be more clean data over here because we would be having that information. If not, we need to devise an algorithm to get that metric information. And then once you have the information present, you would work on building data visualizations or some kind of analysis that would be meaningful for for your customer, basically for the business to uh, to perform some actionable work to achieve that goal or work towards achieving that goal. Any questions so far in this on this slide or the life cycle slide of data and strategy projects?
Hi, ma'am. This is Niharika. Thank you for such a nice introduction. So, I have one question regarding this slide. So, typically, when we look at any machine learning problem, we also follow this typical, method of starting with descriptives to going to algorithm and predictions and then prescriptive. So, one
Yes.
question was that before, because you put data visualization analysis after the algorithms. So don't you think that once we get the relevant data, it's also important to visualize, analyze trends and patterns, which also feeds into the algorithm, and eventually you want to come up with an insight.
Yes, and thank you, Niharika, for bringing that up. You are uh, totally right. If you don't know a lot about the data, you need to dive deep into or get your hands dirty, what we should say, to get to analyze the data, because you can only build an algorithm once you have the right command of the data. You may not know if there are outliers present or if there are any missing values that may mess up with your algorithm later on. So you need to have that command, for which you would need to do ETL operations to identify how your data looks like, what are the data points that you should be considering to come up with an algorithm that is having I should say that is more robust